Trying to confuse me tonight. The other side of the table.
Thank you for holding it. Switcheroo?
Yeah, switcheroo.
Something to changing it up?
Yeah, change it up.
Looking forward to sitting that center. Who's gonna kick her?
Oh, I don't know anything about
Right
that.
here,
but
Scott.
I've always been tight ended.
Let's flip the ends right here.
Hell yeah. I'm in for new things. Chris does smell a little funny some days.
Oh.
I do, but not weeknights.
Weakness.
Look at that.
Fucking password expired. What a joke.
ABC 1 through 3.
That's exactly what it is.
I have to bring fly swatter over here later.
I'm gonna have to get your input.
What?
I'll have to get your input.
On?
Get your advice.
On?
What else you were saying?
Come out. You coming out?
Everybody has 10 minutes.
10 minutes. We do a little switcherooski. A little switcherooski.
Yeah. On the right thing, my joy.
This is the one from the meeting that we had. It's just one's already in your packet, but I'm gonna hand it to you anyways. This is
She never gives me some sign before and then afterwards.
Timing wise, might be in a rush to do it. Talking about the plans,
Yes.
I'd say we try to do it, just do it afterwards with everything else we've got, so.
How are you doing?
Perfect.
Looking spiffy today.
I had a
Blue, man in blue.
big training down in Northern with data training, the FBI and stuff was there, all that kind of assessment and stuff. So,
He was gambling.
I don't gamble. You said I was spending my money on like hunting stuff? That I do.
Could be gambling.
That's right, you're gambling if you're gonna get something.
Yeah, that's true.
Could be gambling.
You're a good shot. You're a good spot.
Yes.
But still, we all know.
Yeah, now you gotta change up your voting order. You gotta remember.
That was part of the reason. I wanna vote first. It always goes left to right. And I
I'm
wanna
gonna be the first one now.
unless it changes up on me. That would be a curveball.
Mr. Gullo?
Yeah. Unless we do a dice, we do another number and then,
Alright.
because there's no 5-sided dice though, right? Let's use number 1.
No. No.
This is the one.
Yeah, you probably said screw this.
Who?
Brian.
Yeah, I didn't catch it either. I know
let's see.
you get a lot on your plate.
Yeah,
Was there any other thing on here? Yeah, it looks like they're all got that long printing.
It's refreshing.
It's all right, Paul. You got a lot on your plate, and they won't have it. Which was the one that was posted, Paul?
The one that was posted is the correct one.
Okay.
This one's the difference.
I'll see Jason.
Print that quickly for everybody.
You should have a copy of it. I don't understand how I didn't get it.
It's fine, it's okay.
How's it going? All right. Tired?
Long couple weeks. Running through law practices. All my colleagues are on vacation out of the country. So.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been a long few weeks.
Hello.
It was a dark chocolate peanut butter cup.
Yeah, that's better than other smells.
That was my dinner thrown out of here.
That's fine, I just, obviously, it's no change, it's okay smell, it's okay smell, just.
Personal injury.
I'm not used to all the same thing, the smell of peanut butter at home, to the dog, so it's good.
No, I should do Frank's Cove.
Yeah, move on. It's got nothing going. Just divorces and adoptions.
Yeah.
This is the one. Look at this.
Well, there's another.
Ow.
I do, I would.
Here's his email.
Try to enjoy the weekends.
Yeah. They just print out their own one. Which means,
Yeah, it can be.
yeah, well, we're going by that. Okay.
Right, but.
The wrong agenda was printed, this is the one that was published. And that's my error, it wasn't, I didn't catch that at all.
No, you're going to meetings and stuff, I'd say we're
Thank you.
just fine.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ryan will not.
A little colder than expected.
Okay. It's good, now we're good. That's correct. Get right next.
Sounds like something.
No, it's not.
Oh,
That's the
60?
That's what it's
Kind of combined.
It's kind of combined because.
That is.
So we put it underneath there.
That's.
Okay, no, we'll both talk to it, but it's just,
Okay.
because that's where, right, correct.
Gotcha.
You're still.
You're still.
Oh, thank you.
That would be it.
That's it. So that's all it is. I didn't get to read that yet. I opened it up.
That's correct. Yes.
It's very clean.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. And we should. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't really interacted with him much, I've met him a couple times.
No. It's actually good. You don't need to, I have, we can go talk.
Oh, yeah. All that. All right, we will call the March 13th Board Supervisors Workshop to order, 7 o'clock. We'll first do a pledge of allegiance, so no one signs for the whole person. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, roll call. Mr. Burback. I'm here. Mrs. Edmund. Mr. Rose.
Here.
Mr. Doyle.
Present.
I'm here. All right. Any citizens' concerns out there this evening?
We need citizens for that. Well, you citizens.
Barry, you're a citizen. Barry, you're a citizen. Do you have any concerns?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Are you sure?
All right, Rich, correspondence.
Okay, quite a lot in your correspondence. Most of this, obviously, you can take a look through that. Nothing particularly stands out to me. Any greater imports over another.
Okay. All right, then, acting chief Rinke.
Good evening, board. First thing I have on is the discussion of locker room. So I reached out to Rich and we spoke in Technicon, I guess Jeffrey Young. So to move forward with looking into building us a locker room, I guess it would be a level 2 alteration. So we need a building permit and it would have to be constructed by either an architect or an engineer and sealed plans. So with your approval, I was going to speak to Ryan. Unfortunately, he's not here today, but I can always reach out to him and see if maybe he can point us in the right direction and see what we actually need to do or get the ball
So we
moving.
don't do it twice.
Which fellow did you speak to at Technicon?
Jeffrey Young.
I believe he's one of their BCOs, sir, so.
I believe he's very thorough.
He is.
He is
From my,
very thorough in
Yes.
his email to me.
Yes,
From
sir.
my personal experience.
But,
Yeah, might as well. You can reach out to Ryan and stuff, yeah.
and then the second thing I have is to discuss the new hire for the PD admin. Background checks were done, interviews were done. We did 12 interviews, 28 people applied. The guys who interviewed everybody and did the backgrounds came to me with position number 1 and number 2. And if you would so grant me an executive session tonight, I will discuss who our number 1 candidate would be.
Sure.
Sounds good.
The next thing I have is the Animal Rescue League. So I reached out and I spoke to Ashley and just asked her how our fee costs more than somebody else's fee that lives farther from us. So what they did was, for the location of the Animal Rescue League, they did a 10-mile circle. If your township extended past the 10-mile circle is why you were bounced into the higher rate. To me personally, it's not gonna matter because we're gonna drop the dogs off anyway if you guys would choose to sign the MOU.
So even though we're really only
Even though we're closer, the way they did it, they
What our
said,
boundary is.
this is it, our boundaries headed towards Carnarvon, yes. Elderson Road is outside the 10-mile circle. So that's how we bumped up from $50 to $100 for a pickup for a dog. But again, they're never gonna pick up a dog. We're always gonna drop it off, because we literally almost drive by that anytime we get on 176 to go on the other side of the township.
And this is if we get stuck with the dog.
This is if we get stuck with a dog, so we'll take up to 15 dogs per year, only from us. Township residents can't go and drop them off unless we authorize it. It's only the dogs that we have to say, for an extended period of time, 24, 48 hours,
Yeah,
whatever you guys
we have,
need.
there's a
That
hold
way they go
that,
there and they're able to take care of them and figure something out for us.
there's a legal hold, you know, without having a license.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's 48.
48.
I'll double check. We don't wanna get into that. It's easier just with the 48 done.
So it would be up to the board if you would choose to sign that MOU. I think it'll be beneficial to the department. Most of the time, we can get our dogs back to the owners. Sometimes we can't, you know what I mean? There's a lot of times that they just run around the office as long as they're good with us, and the officers are good with it. They take them out and everything, they feed them, make sure they have water. But if they have to leave, you know what I mean? If it's here for.
We had a bunch like the last
Yeah.
week.
We had a ton of dogs.
It was like every day.
recently. Yeah, it was.
And they all found home.
Yeah.
So.
And it doesn't cost anything if you don't use it. It's only
Right.
if you
We
use it.
need a motion to sign it, so you just need a motion to sign the MOU, I guess, correct?
Yeah, cause all he's doing is covering his butt. If we're stuck with something for 48 hours, it goes bye-bye.
Anyone would like to make a motion to, you know, for us to approve the MLS with the MOU?
I happily will, because we're only gonna use it when we need it. I just hope we don't get dumped, okay? I don't
I'll
want
second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second, roll call, Mr. Bittler.
Thank you for calling on me, Mr. Chairman.
That's right, I gotta redirect,
I
I
You got
appreciate that.
your first vote now.
I'll vote yes.
All right, Mrs. Joy,
Yes,
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
Thank you, board. I do have two other things that are not on the list. Just wanted to let you guys know that we were at Fun Fest last Saturday. We got to meet and greet a lot of the parents that we don't normally get to see, along with the students, to help build those relationships in Robeson Township. It's a good thing, I think, and it's fun talking to parents, you know what I mean? Their kids go home and talk about us being there every day, and then you get to put a face to who belongs to who type of thing. The next thing, Hawk Painter dropped off a color swatch, so we get to pick a color for the building. He is getting ready to start the building and do the patches. So I don't know how you guys would like to choose. I have thoughts on it, but I'm just an acting chief.
I would say I trust the police.
Yep. Pick the color, as long as it's not yellow.
Do you want us to come up with like a top 3 colors and bring it to the regular meeting? And then
Sure, sure,
That's-
That's fine.
3 colors for Tuesday.
yeah.
choose? 3 colors for Tuesday. Okay, well, that'll do it. And that's all I have for it.
Thank you.
All right, board in your packet right now is the monthly expenses and the treasurer's report. So regional report will be provided as we get that updated. That should be done Monday.
I think we should go to get a kid to paint the side of it, put some nice designs on, maybe another Eagle Scout project.
Could be.
I guess we got manager's comments.
All right, so we also, as police did, we conducted interviews with an administrative assistant. Somebody also that was backfill on some fiscal responsibilities. That was conducted also at the same time, rough time frame that Jason did his for the police department down here. We have our recommendation as well. However, we will not do that this evening. My recommendation would be to wait until Tuesday evening to have that further discussion in executive. The next thing that's on there is the MOU for the administrative assistant. We did give you, it's actually in your packets, as well as a letter that was sent to you individually. This MOU is based on a conversation that we had with Teamsters Local Union number 429, and you can read the letter yourself. It's addressed to me as the township manager, however, really is for you as the board to have a discussion about. I don't know how you want to fill in on this and how this came about.
So how this came about is when I was reaching out to surrounding townships, getting the secretary's salary, their benefits and stuff like that, I became aware that a lot of the administrative assistants are in the Teamsters 429. So I called Rich and I asked him if we could have a conversation with whoever deals with the Teamsters, which his name became Dylan. So within speaking to Dylan, I asked him, you know, is it possible for our administrator assistant to be in the union? If so, or if not, how can we change it, I guess, to allow them in there? So he told me, I guess it is by state that they are allowed in it, but being that I'm calling it an administrative assistant, an MOU would probably simplify it, being able to put it in there so that it's clear, I guess, is the best way to say it. I went through Robeson Township's handbook and I went through the Teamsters contract. The only difference I seen was that the Teamsters get one extra bereavement day for non-immediate family. They get, I believe it is at year 7, they get their 3rd week opposed to year 10, and then it's like year 12 and 15 for the next week of vacation. Besides that, the health, dental, I mean, everything is pretty much all spelled out the same. Personal days, the same, holidays are the same, anything of monetary value is pretty much the same.
Would there be a probationary period for the employee?
I believe it says 90 days.
It is 90 days under the current Teamsters contract, it is under union agreement, it's 90 days.
Yeah. And this is just, in my opinion, some added protection for an employee that we have, that they were able to get their due process and things.
You'll realize that I oppose that position, correct? I don't need to restate that.
No, we're aware of your complaints.
It's not a complaint, I'm in opposition to the hiring,
Good
we
point.
don't need it,
Yeah.
so we don't, and that's my opinion. Now, I differ from Mr. Rhodes. Supervisor Rhodes asked me a question a number of meetings ago. He asked me a question as to do I have any documentation as to why I would oppose that. And the answer, I answered it then, no, I don't, other than the fact that it's kind of the reverse, Jeff, of what I feel we should be doing. We haven't had one for years.
And
I don't
you
think
don't
it-
go in the office to even see that.
Sure, my question though too was around.
I would like to finish.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Well, it seems like we have a
Because-
board member that doesn't,
Go ahead, Tim, finish.
You never stop. So go ahead, I'm listening.
so my response, Jeff, was that I don't think it's incumbent upon us to prove why not. I think it was incumbent by our chief to prove why, and I was just not satisfied. We had a prior chief that did without for years and years, and I just didn't see the justification. The other sidelight, the other problem with that process, Jeff, is our manager is supposed to get recommendations from different sub-facets, if you will, of the township. That doesn't get immediately shoved into the budget. That should be brought to us and discussed at more length, which in my opinion, this wasn't. We short-circuited the system by taking this vote. You're strapping future boards with things that I don't, and that's nothing against the candidates. I did look at the resume. So I think you're strapping and creating more overhead.
But you've already made it clear, okay, so,
No, the question I have about this
Well, I think
is,
it reduces overhead for
Yeah.
our.
Long term, I believe so as well.
you know, you
I
have,
think there's an overhead reduction, right? And my question to you, Tim, was just more around what research did you do to justify saying that it is not needed, right? Versus, you know, that was my original question, you know, a few weeks ago.
I think it's not related, but the flip argument is, some of us are for a public works manager, some are not, same reason.
yeah,
I think we have, this is just the polar opposite of it, so while you're against this, I'm against that. So just,
I think it's two different things, Scott.
I don't think it is.
In all due respect, I think it's two majorly different things.
They are majorly different by title, but
This-
spending money and not
And,
spending money.
and in the function, Scott.
you're right, Scott.
I mean, in the function, we desperately need, in my opinion, a public works. Desperately.
Okay, are
I
we
do
done with this
feel that
subject?
the MOU that you guys signed for the police department, when Chief Castle was here, and then implemented in the contract, I do feel that was a benefit to Robeson Township because we were able to get better employees, senior employees that were able to come here. Even our last hire with Josh Cummings, Officer of the Year, that what was the medal that he got from the Marines?
He was a meritorious promotion to Lance, which is challenging for the Marines to get.
All the certifications, without having that MOU and being able to offer him more money, we wouldn't have been able to get him. You know what I mean? So I think it's beneficial for Robeson.
Less turnover.
And I would also point out, we did actually have it in the budget from the September meetings onward,
Yes,
so
we did.
it's been a part of long-term discussions, just want to make sure
it has.
we're clear that it's been in there since the beginning. And that was per the discussions with the department heads about where they felt the budget was and what they required to continue and improve their operations.
Yeah, it's been one since the budget, you're right. Okay.
Yeah, I guess we could. All right, keep going, Rich.
Okay, I think the next piece is actually C and D should be together here. This is discuss our request for proposals. I didn't know if the board would like to discuss those this evening or to leave those for our regular meeting on the 18th. Keep in mind, obviously, the 18th, we will also have our conditional use hearing. The next piece of this here is the. Oh, didn't you need I'm sorry, sure.
Yeah, I mean, the ones I looked at, listen, I think at this point, I think we just sit on them, you know, I don't see any real need at the moment to make any major changes or spend any additional funds, you know. I think what we have from a vendor standpoint seems to be working well, so I don't know anybody else's opinion.
All the vendors agreed to 2024.
Right.
Current vendors agreed to 2024.
Correct. Yeah, the only ones that are not part of that, let's see, the outsourced IT is separate. Engineering, your sewage enforcement, zoning and code, solicitor, and the only other two that were not there were the auditor. We don't have an auditor in place at this point in time, so that'd be something that we might discuss at the regular meeting. And then the other ones that are not on there, general security and outsourced IT are not part of that fee schedule, but the others aren't.
I mean, I agree with Supervisor Rhodes. I think it's good to do it every year, request it, see who's new out there, see what changes. But as far as who we have, and I don't know if you want to speak, or I can say it. I know there was a discussion last month about the camera system.
Correct, yes.
We got clarity on that this morning, I believe, from the president of ATS, providing some documentation. I looked through it, I had done my research on it as well. It appears that what the vice president presented here was accurate.
Yes.
As far as those cameras and how they're perceived. The other vendors may not have understood all of it, but what I read this morning and what I looked up myself, I have to agree with their version of events.
Absolutely, that's why it's good to have clarification. I think that's important.
But I think to previous conversation, this RFP thing is something we should just do. Like we talked about starting it earlier in the year to have our answers before the new year. It's always good to refresh and see what's there.
So with the board's permission, what I'd like to do is actually stage this so that we have these RFPs open for discussion at the first September budget meeting, with a decision by the October budget meeting, which I think would be beneficial to you. That way you can set the fee schedules up front. Okay, I'll do that. I want to let you know that our Public Works crew leader and myself attended the AV training, which occurred on February 28th. We are currently the two that are qualified to conduct additional training here, the C training in the township. Recommendation will be to send our acting chief as well as our corporal at some point to have somebody down here, and that way we can conduct that training. We are currently in the process of updating our roster to who has had the C training, which is the actual pumper training. And then the other thing I want to let you know is we had our first, this is the first time that we've had a completely compliant underground storage tank inspection, which was really great. We appreciate all the effort by the team on that. Next thing that's on here is the fuel pump replacement upgrade. That was in a previous packet. I believe the cost on that was around $68,000. I know that that's quite a bit. We have not discussed the storage tanks at this point. They are approaching their 30-year shelf life. So that is something we're going to have to consider in the long-term planning for the township and township facilities, and how we manage that. Some townships do manage by fleet cards, so I'm going to continue to do some additional research for us. Again, some information here. Meta will be removing pruning, spraying as necessary trees, vegetation in around Gibraltar Park. And then the other place that they did note to me was they're going to come down here along the lane back to our sewage treatment plant. There were some trees that are just inside the sentient line, however, they're still within our right of way. I confirmed with our solicitor she feels that that's perfectly fine to do that, because it's within the right of way, either side of that roadway going back. The insurance discussion regarding hunting and kennels, just wanted to bring up to date. I know we've had this on the agenda a few times. I'll start with the kennels because it ties into what was already discussed with regard to our MOU with the ARL down the road here. There is no requirement for us to have there's no additional fees, there's no additional premiums for us to have kennels. The only requirement for us is to have a policy in place, which I will write with our acting chief. The only individuals that are allowed to have interaction with any dogs that are here would be township employees. So any of the administrative office, the public works, or the police will be doing this that would have contact with them, because they would fall under the workers' compensation claims. Outside of that, they are not. No outside individual should have contact with the dogs.
Last month's meeting, I asked you to give me, or I stopped at the office and asked you to give me the phone number of that insurance gal.
Justine, sir?
Whoever it was, I stopped. Do you recall that, Paul?
Yes, sir.
Did you ever do that?
I don't believe I did. I don't know.
Is there a reason why you wouldn't give me that information?
No, sir, probably
Forgot?
a few other things on the plate, so would the board like me
So
to?
much time in the office. You don't really
Not a
have
problem,
to
do
do
so.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, will do.
Well, it seems like we're forgetting quite a bit of things, Mr. Howard. I don't know how to correct that procedure, but I asked for that. I stopped at the office and I wanted to talk to the gal. I'm not willing to delegate to you without some additional oversight.
Well, maybe
And
you
that,
need to trust
I'm
your
not
employees.
finished, ma'am.
You never
Would
are.
you?
Would you agree to this?
So I'm not willing to delegate, and I don't think it's wise for my colleagues to do the same. I asked for something, and I don't really accept that, to me, what is an excuse if you're busy doing other things. So I'll try and, how shall I say?
Send an
Sir, I
email.
don't
I'll try
require to
and,
have a personal
I'll try
conversation with
and,
you over it.
make it even more emphatic if you will.
No, just send an email, communicate. You don't do it well outside of here. You do it well on TV, but not outside of
All
here.
right, Rich, what else we got?
Okay. So the second piece of that was in regard to hunting back on the property. Again, there's no increase to our insurance premiums for having or allowing hunting on the properties back here. However, what they did note was that we should have a policy in place, release and hold harmless, some form of licensing is probably not the right term, but some form of tracking who is authorized to go back on the property. Our acting chief and I discussed some different options as far as you do a check-in, check-out. That becomes very challenging to do. However, if we know that somebody's gonna be back on the property, they provide us with the license plate of the vehicle that they'll be driving. You know, we give them a location that they can park, just that we know that those are individuals that can be back there. If something does arise, at least we know that we can quickly respond to anything. So,
Mr. Howard, if I may.
yes, sir.
I'm looking at something that comes from Laureldale. This hunting situation was dropped several months ago, and I don't see why it's linked with a kennel. Who directed you to spend our precious resources with our solicitor getting ordinances from somewhere else? Who directed you to do that? What brings this on? Now, Mr.
We
Rhodes,
asked
Mr.
for it.
Rhodes, you're a hunter. Was that not the clear direction and discussion of this board? There was no problem from our police perspective, and now it resurfaces again.
From what I remember of that discussion, we briefly discussed the permit process, but it was kind of shut down, right? We didn't.
It was shut down because it was not needed, and somehow these things get resurrected.
So that-
Now,
that's valid.
earlier, we had a discussion about meetings not being productive.
Well,
We had,
let's get back to you.
no, wait.
Go back to
We
the
had a
original
meeting,
thing.
and the reason they're not is because no one directed him to do
Yeah,
that.
but
We
the thing
asked
is-
No,
for it.
no one did.
Well, the
I
thing is,
did.
on February
When did you do that? When did you do
At a
that?
meeting.
Well,
I
both of
thought
them-
No, that meeting was, we didn't have a problem, why make one?
No, it
No.
was,
That was the
are
problem.
we legally
Now, the
covered?
thing is, on February
Financially.
6th, Rich sent an
We
email to
don't need to
everybody.
get sued again.
Rich sent an email to everybody February 6th, 11:46 a.m. about that, because we discussed it
Yes.
and was there coverage
Correct.
insurance-wise. So, and then he commented, township currently owns 19.6 acres of vacant land. During a review of our general liability coverage, we noted the land listed under the coverage detail is identified as no hunting and no fishing. And then blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So then it says the recommendation.
So where is that, Chris, you're reading stuff that the public can't see, where is that on our agendas? You know, leading up to this,
Well,
this
it's
is
only
all
one 'cause you just
nonsense,
challenged
and let's
things.
cut to the chase.
Stop
Let's cut
whining.
to the chase. This is because me and my friends typically hunt there, and it's been open to hunting since the 1800s.
No, you
Okay, so
said,
do
I
you wanna
have
be
rights.
quiet? Do you wanna be quiet or don't you?
Well, first off,
No, just let me finish, Chris, and then I'll be done. So there is much to do about nothing. Nothing.
It's your personal right to hunt there. You made that clear. We've been hunting here since
No,
the
it's not
70s.
personal. Everybody's welcome to hunt there because we have a few too many deer that devastate my crops.
Okay, it's all about
Okay.
you again. Back to that
My
one.
recollection of the discussion was we asked Solicitor London, and she had no complaints to letting it be done. I think I personally said if there's no issue there, then why touch it?
So
Why
why are
not?
we doing it, Scott? Why are we doing
That
it?
was my opinion, but I don't know if there was any, I don't remember any direction from
Well, there
that.
certainly wasn't direction to
I said
pursue
that-
a Laurel ordinance. There was no direction to do that,
I
Scott.
can't speak on that part.
Well, I can speak on it. It's nonsense.
I
It's
think
nonsense.
about liability.
Yeah,
Okay?
we just had a
You
solicitor, we pay a
see.
solicitor, and she said there's a thing called assumption of risk. You assume the risk when you go out there. These are things that was totally nonsense.
So we should stop.
We're done with that.
Thank
So-
you.
No, we're
I mean,
not done.
well,
Yeah, we are.
Yes, because the thing is, he was looking into the whole, there was no coverage, says no hunting and fishing. So the way the
He
world.
deliberately circumvented Chris,
No, he didn't.
asking a question, and you won't do that again, Mr. Howard.
All you do is
Won't do
abuse
that
our
again.
employees.
Alright,
We do
alright.
have rules
Rich,
in our
Rich, keep
supervisor
going.
book and
Someone
employee handbook in reference to your behavior.
Next thing in your packet, folks, is resolution for summer hire. Just want to put that on your radar. We have not yet made a final call and or decision. Am I correct in that, sir? That's something we'll need to bring to the board next week because that should start no later than earlier than the 1st of April. So we'll take also look at the future weather forecast. We might be able to push that into April as well if we absolutely need to. But again, that's just in your packets for your review. All right, with that, further questions? That's all I have under that category.
Alright, we got the supervisor's reports. Anyone have anything to add right now for those things?
Not at the moment for me.
I'll pass down, Mr. Chairman, with the exception of you. We didn't get the conflict. There's one for you, Joe. Take one.
And down.
Yeah. There's one for you here too as well, Rich.
No idea. I guess they get passed on. Nobody
No,
gets
that's it.
one.
You don't get one, do you?
All right, so what I did was I reached out to our solicitor and asked him to give a kind of simpler version. As you're aware, our solicitor's firm started out with one, and I raised the issue with respect to the conflicts of interest. We then each hired our own counsel, and that counsel, the authorities counsel, as I understood, kind of reviewed a lease that Ms. London drafted. Categorically, I would have rejected that lease as there were a few direct misrepresentations in all due respect. I won't elaborate on that publicly yet. However, with us not incurring debt at this moment, a simpler, better, clearer understanding of a lease is the direction we want to go, in my opinion. You guys certainly review it. It's going to reference in their order. Some of that will be taken out, but it's a good working draft. I have not had any discussions with the liaison to the authority, Mr. Steve, of substance. I will hopefully, this week. So stay tuned, it's work in progress. Now, Mr. Howard, I've asked you, this is probably the 4th time for a $10,000 to identify in the budget what that is. Do we have any further feedback on that?
No, sir, we do not.
Do you have any time that you would be able to figure that out?
Sir, we've looked, we don't have any kind of a notation or agreement that we could locate that dictates where
So
that
the
came from.
township takes 10,000, switches around accounts, does it for years, and nobody knows what's going on. And that's what I'm gonna try and straighten out in this lease, fellas. We don't wanna repeat it is easy to get in habits for a 35-year lease. This is another concept, depending on terms. I haven't discussed that with anybody in the authority. Depending on terms, this is another thing that's gonna go way beyond any of us perhaps serving here, depending what we do. So I'm working on it. I'll take any feedback. You know how to get a hold of me. Thank you.
Alright, and in our packet, fire company stuff.
Newsletter,
Oh, you have something for the
yeah,
newsletter?
just real simple, newsletter, they've been contacted, if anybody has any businesses in the area, send me an email, let me know. Because I'm gonna give her a list, because that's what's gonna fund it.
Thank you. And we have fire companies and in our packet for minutes and reports, for review for Tuesday, and now Ryan is not here.
He is not. I think a couple of things we wanted to just briefly update you on here. So of course, the Rock Hollow Road Bridge update, as you may be aware, we've had our pre-construction meeting. We expect that to be complete sometime in the August timeframe at the latest, so prior to the school year, which would be good. Again, obviously there may be things that impact that, but that's our outside shot at this point in time. We also had a conversation, myself, Mr. Reddinger, and Mr. Rhodes, regarding our 2025 street work. What we're asking for is consider authorization to advertise for that, with contracts for both the paving and also the oil and chip contracts. We'd like to move on that this evening. If not, we'd like to move on that obviously sooner rather than later. So we'd like to get that done.
Dennis, I'll make a motion to advertise for the contract.
For 2025 street work?
Yes.
Yes.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Ms. Joy,
Yes,
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
and I'll vote yes.
And the other thing that we have here, the Cedar Hill Estate subdivision is going to be a request for a time extension, just so that you're aware of that. We also met with the PC for that earlier this month. And then Old Hickory Building Sewage Planning Exemption Module. I'll have to check our packets this evening. That may still be in Ryan's hands, so he'll bring that to the meeting on Tuesday, if in fact that it is. And then of course the Planning Commission meeting is from the 13th of January.
Okay. Anything else? All right, Colin.
All right, good evening, board members. Not too much to report. In your packet is a resolution that repeals portions of Resolution 24-06 as part of the settlement with Mr. Bittler. I believe that resolution 25 would repeal sections of the prior resolution that prohibited recordation of meetings immediately before and after.
Hey, Doreen, wasn't this done last month?
I don't believe so.
Look at the minutes.
Was the agreement may have been.
The
agreement
resolution was not.
and then the repeal, I think, was done.
no, the agreement,
I think it was the agreement.
just the agreement.
Well,
Well, look at the
Well,
minutes.
the agreement likely obligated this board to enact or adopt the resolution.
Step one,
I think was done, but whatever.
All right, well, it doesn't hurt to do it again. So if the board wants to make it.
It would be resolution 25-08 in this case, if, you know, and again, resolution, my understanding, repeals resolution.
Partially
Correct.
Partially.
Yeah, correct.
resolution 2406.
Right. So, well, a resolution would be used to repeal portions of another resolution.
Correct.
All right, anyone like to make the motion accept resolution 25-08?
I'll make the motion to put it into it, please.
Alright, I'll second that.
Roll call, Mr. Bittler.
I will abstain on that motion. I was the plaintiff.
We understand.
You let me finish? You never can keep your mouth closed. I'm
Never stop
abstaining
whining.
from that vote and hoping that the public continues to be informed, participates. When I was in asking for stuff that Mr. Howitt seems not to be able to give me, I mentioned to Paula about the recording. And she said that she uses the YouTube for minutes, as did our prior manager.
All right,
Okay.
Mrs. Joy,
So,
Okay,
Mrs. Joy,
so I'm glad you
Yes.
find that useful, Paula.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
And I'll vote yes.
Not much else to say. The M3 Explo hearing is on Tuesday, that's the conditional use hearing. The township has the draft Pam's contract already. Attorney London will speak with Attorney Mooney about the Old Hickory land development. And then lastly, Attorney London will be prepared to discuss the 1150 Buck Hollow Road situation on Tuesday next meeting.
What is that situation?
In summary, I believe that someone is requesting to construct a dwelling on the property.
Don, I'll jump in here on this. So 1150 Buck Hollow Road had gone before the zoning hearing board under the previous owners, the cells. It was if you're coming down Buck Hollow Road, there was at one time, I believe, a greenhouse to the right-hand side. It was within the right-of-way, basically the setback of the roadway. That was then rebuilt, that was taken down. The owners then rebuilt something on that pad, and then not realizing that they need to go before the zoning hearing board and a couple of other things for the variances and so on. So they ended up selling the property. The new property owner went before the zoning hearing board. His intent is to actually build a new home on the property, so a family dwelling. He was looking to have this as an accessory structure to that. Unfortunately, that's still within the setback, so I believe the new agreement would be like we've done in the past with others. He's requesting to essentially leave that there for the use of, putting construction equipment and construction materials in while he builds a new dwelling. Once that dwelling is built, that he would take down that accessory structure, because again, it's within the setback.
We've had nothing but trouble with that.
Yes, sir.
Well, at least with respect to the zoning hearing board's decision while Mr. Sell on the property, part of the reason why the zoning hearing board denied that relief is because he put mobile homes in the pole barn, lived in it, and then wasn't really totally honest about his intentions in the future. Obviously, a new owner, owns the property now, so.
Mr. Santos.
Yeah. We'll go for different circumstances, different human
See what
beings.
Joe has to say on Tuesday. All right, anything else?
That's it.
All right, thank you. All right, Public Works, Barry.
Evening, board. I'm working with Ryan Rhodes and trying to get the ball rolling, so to speak, with a new salt shed, either one big salt shed or two. It's proven to be a little bit more complicated than you would think. It has to do with MS4, DEP, sizing, so on and so forth. The reason I'm out working with him is because he just did about a year and a half ago, 2 years, Jefferson Townships and another one. So he's pretty versed with what needs to be done, so on and so forth. So I'm working with him with that. For B, we're going to start replacing drain pipes on Buck Hollow Road in preparation for milling and patching. We're using a lot of cold patch up in that stretch between Overlook and Route 10. It's just riddled with potholes and needs to get fixed. So before I do that and spend money on milling and patching, I'm going to replace the drain pipes because they're all the previous old galvanized.
Preventive maintenance, right?
Speaking of cold patch, Barry, I think you can fill that one in on Plow Road.
We actually,
At the hill.
so I stopped, we looked at that today,
Did you?
actually.
Okay.
Well, there's no base under that.
Yeah.
It's just,
I see dirt coming out now.
that's all it was. It was paved over top, it's paved over top of it. I couldn't tell you why that was done, but we are looking at that, because it's, so that's going to start the end of this month with the drain pipe replacement. Again, the travel will be affected on Buck Hollow Road between Overlook and Route 10. For C, asking the board's approval that the Public Works team attends the Berks County Public Works meeting April 9th in Oley.
What day of the week is that?
I'm sorry?
What day of the week is that?
It's a Wednesday. That's typically when they have the meeting.
What's the times on a couple hours in the morning?
It's usually like 8 to 12. There is a lunch that's provided. It's no cost because we pay for it anyway.
You're suggesting everyone go, you goes, or?
And typically everybody goes, just because there are learning, you know, I'm not sure what the one is this month. Typically this time of year, it is something to do with asphalt, you know, paving, whether.
Should there be any emergencies, you'll keep someone back.
Oh, I mean, yeah, we come, yeah. So,
And then, anyone like to make a motion for that?
Yeah, I'll make a motion. We approve, Public Works Department to attend the Berks County Public Works meeting on April 9th in all.
I'll second.
All right, roll call, Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Mrs. Joanne,
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes,
Yes.
Mr. Gallo,
Yes.
and I vote yes.
all right, thank you, board. Next, I'm asking the board's approval that for myself to attend the pesticide applicators training and test at Leesport. That is April 3rd. The cost of that is $60. And that will come out of line 43703, regards to the training.
And that certification is good for,
That's only good for 1 year, then
1 year.
yeah, you also need to do credits. I will kind of forewarn you, I obviously had to bring this up in front of the board to get approval. Last time I talked to them, there was 3 openings for that test. So that was 2 weeks ago, give or take. They do fill up fast, but they do have one every month, so.
okay.
I'll make a motion.
Kinda what I'm asking is if I do miss this one, if time will allow me in May.
Okay.
I'll
Put that in the motion.
make a motion to have you attend as stated here. If you cannot get into the next month, you will apply for the following month
For
and
May.
it's approved at that point.
I'll second the motion.
Roll call, Mr. Bittler,
Yes.
Yes.
Mrs. Joy, Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
And I vote yes.
All right, sure everybody knows the new 25 Freightliner dump trucks in service. I think it was on there before, that's all right. We're waiting for the agreement with the solicitor, to go forward with. This is Brecknock's, solicitor for the purchase of the new deck over trailer, that's to haul the boat, the paper and roller. Which I sent an email out, but apparently the pictures didn't go through, I don't know why. We did take delivery of the paver and roller, 2 days ago, Tuesday. There will be some additional training with that, that'll just kind of be like in-house stuff. The sales rep will come over, all stuff. It's nice, new and shiny, it's kind of a shame to put blacktop in it, but it's what it's for. It's what it's for. And then G, we have the new 24 Silverado, that's all done.
It's not, it's complete, when we wrote this, it was,
Yeah.
it's one final completion, so it's not complete, ready to.
It's all complete now.
It is.
Sweet.
We made a motion before the list those other vehicles.
I don't think we did we?
We made a motion to get rid of the old one, the one that broke down. We did, right? Okay, just wanna make sure that was done, so.
So we will be getting rid of that here. So,
Anything else?
that's all I have.
All right.
I do want to make a couple of notes here for the board so that you're aware. Mr. Eshelman reached out to me regarding the bridge project on Alleghenyville Road. That is going to, from my understanding, looking at PennDOT's site, that is going to be closed late spring into all through next fall. So he's now aware of that. I'm looking for further details on that. We'll update the board as we get that information. Additionally, if you'll recall, on 724, the bridge project should commence this spring out here at the intersection with 568. Again, that's also going to cause some traffic concerns for us. Chief's aware of that. We are going to look at the timing for the traffic lights, as we mentioned previously. That will occur after that bridge has been completed. We're looking at, I believe, a year and a half for that total completion of that project. It's a pretty big project there. And then, of course, we've already discussed the Rock Hollow Road Bridge. We expect that to be open and back in operation in sometime in the late summer.
Alleghenyville Road, just made me think about it, we had this conversation, it probably involves you and EMS as well. Contacting Brecknock, PD and fire, as well as the EMS providers, but I'll say on the fire side, I'll make an adjustment at the county level, whatever's possible. For the homes from the bridge to the Brecknock Robeson line, that there's a temporary run card replacement, that Brecknock Fire comes in. We'll be on it, obviously we'll be delayed, but we'll ensure any calls in that area of serious nature that at least Brecknock will be coming in from their end, which will mostly beat us there, so I'm sure you can have that conversation with your people, but it's probably like 4 houses, 5,
Not many.
6 houses, but
Where it could actually have another impact on us, and just to make the board aware, discussing this with our paving and our mill and patching work during the summer, our projects are right there at Weaver and Moyer in that particular area. That road closed off, Silver Hill, that's the direct shot to Silver Hill. Could be a pretty hard workaround, especially if South Runnings closes, I understand. So just gonna let you know, it's gonna be one of those things where it may be a longer delay to get that milling and patching done. So the sooner we can get that rolling, that's gonna be better for us as well. Okay.
Do you wanna touch on what we found with the salt shed, or?
Yeah, we can. I think that's a good thing to do this
Existing
evening. I believe we sent the initial report to you about the salt shed. I do have some pictures. I haven't had a chance to upload those and send those to you. It will truly paint the picture for you, if you will. What has happened with the salt shed in the back here is when they constructed the salt shed, it's 2 by 12 on the inside. They're supposed to have essentially a deflection plate, if you will, on the inside of these. They extended them upwards, but never put an additional deflection plate or a deflection ramp into them. So the salt has ended up behind those 2 by 12s, and it's wedged between the 2 by 12s and the T111 on the outside. The T111, when you see the pictures I send you, I'll get that out to you sometime tomorrow. You will see they've essentially disintegrated. The best way to describe it is like a sponge. So we need to replace all of that. There's a few structural pieces there that we need to replace to make sure that we have at least something viable going into our next winter as we work to get a replacement in there. Make sure it's safe enough for us to at least operate on it. So just want to make the board aware. Is there anything I'm missing on that, Barry? I think that's the
No,
big
it's
piece
just
on this.
I know, we're looking at another salt shed, but this is just to keep this one standing until we get one, because, talking to all these other municipalities, you're looking at like a year and a half till we even get one on the ground, so it just kind of.
So you have this one, and you gonna use the other one too?
No, just this one, this is
It's
just,
this
we're
one.
just
There's nothing
trying to
else.
kind of rehab this thing along.
At this point, it is placing somewhat of a Band-Aid, if you will, on the structure to make sure it's at least safe enough for us to use and to store the salt for DEP requirements. Again, I point out, we believe that if we can replace the salt shed in the short-term future, we can reuse most of that T111 and the structural materials that we're putting in place to make sure that it's viable for that. So at least we're not putting those materials in there and then going to waste as well.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see that big pile of salt not in the salt shed, that's why. There's also, we had to take the T111 off regardless and start fixing some of the 6x6s in the back. So, and that's when we took a couple pieces off. It was like opening up Pandora's box.
Once that happens, you can't put it back.
Yeah, it's
We've all had it happen to us for some project.
So we're just, it's just for a year until we get a new one, but unfortunately, I think it's money that needs to be spent just to keep the thing upright.
All right, thank you.
Nothing from Park and Rec. We're working on those November meeting minutes. I had a discussion with the chair of that board, and we believe we can get that corrected pretty quickly. EAC February's minutes are as approved in your packet, approved on March 6th by them. Nothing under new business, old business, no change at this point in time. It's still there. And then I do believe.
Is there like another meeting going on down here?
Yes. Ben.
I'm sorry, I'm out of order, Mr. Chairman.
You are?
Well, what we were doing was discussing briefly the local emergency that didn't exist, as well as the minutes from last month where we already repealed that. That's what we did.
Okay, all right, keep going, Rich.
I apologize if that was interrupting to straighten out this mess.
Okay.
Yeah, it was rude, but that's okay.
Okay, again, no change there, and I think we're at executive session service as needed or required for the board tonight.
Yeah, all right. We're going to go into executive session at 7:47. And I guess you're coming down through. That's wrong.
Yeah.
I'm looking at
The
it,
lights blinking.
I keep saying I look at Saturday.
Yeah, we,
So, I know when I started to do the flyers, I was like, once you go to.
You know what, I didn't even look at it, I just looked at you and went, okay.
Yeah, when the
Exactly.
when the computers, well, I think to the extent that there's more coming, when the computers looking at it.
Hi.
No, it was before. No, I think it was before.
The resolution. Well, before the 2-inch thing, this is clearly telling you you can't do it. You going down there? Yeah. Personnel.
Well, what was the point about defer? I didn't understand all of
I say you defer. Answer lots of stuff calls. If he's not gonna answer me, I'm gonna do it.
it. Deferring in what sense?
We're trying to get a lower price, what we're trying to do. I'll tell you more about that. Yeah, I'll bring that another mess.
There's no pesticide thing that Rob goes to, like shooting maple over here. He just went like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
But it was like all the stuff in one day.
oh, was it? I wonder if it was just the credits? Cause I know you have to do, like, once you get the test, you have to have so many credits, like, every year.
Yeah, it might just be the credits then,
Yeah.
because he's had this pesticide thing for years.
Yeah, we gotta get it.
But that's like, I think it's from like 8 to 4 or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's,
It's a shaved maple, it's
yeah,
like,
it's what it is,
you're
yeah.
eating, you're eating.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But that might be
yeah,
something for next year.
absolutely.
All discussion is stopping unless you come back downstairs.
Can't do that, you can proceed without me.
No, we're not doing it.
Well, how come?
No, we're not doing it.
That makes me feel important, but I mean,
You
I'm
are.
not important.
We're not gonna talk about all this stuff without you being
No,
there.
I'm just going back. I
Alright, well, we paused, we didn't know what, you just disappeared, so.
No, I'm not gonna interrupt, I'm just, you can roll out too much.
Well, no, just stand there.
That's where all the magic happens, just so you know. What colors do you think?
Colors do I think?
Give me a woman's opinion.
Is it an inside color or outside color?
Outside.
For this building?
Yep.
Jeez. I'd say like a light gray because it'll hide dirt.
I like you. I said the same thing. I am not a brown guy.
Yeah.
I hate brown. I'm a light gray kind of guy.
I'll try this one. That's kind of light grayish, right? Because you don't want it to be too dark. So
Yeah.
you will get too dark, right? Yeah, kind of like that one.
Gold gray.
Gold gray. There you go.
That works.
And then the seagulls will just want to hang out there.
Oh, jeez.
You guys don't have enough to do in the summer, right? We can attract all the seagulls over there.
Yeah.
Honestly, you probably could get them here because they're probably over in Scarves.
They're right around the corner.
Just sit out there with some French fries and you're good to go.
Yeah.
Gold gray.
I used to hate that when my kids were little and we go to McDonald's on shore and they'd be like, look, Mom, the seagulls are coming around. Please don't. Please don't attract the rats with wings over here. I could get the guy who rides the lawnmower around with the umbrella. They give him some fries. Attract the seagulls over.
No.
No.
I could only imagine. You know what's good about gray? The T111 that we have to put back up on the building, the new stuff, comes primed in gray. It's the only color you get. It's so bad. That salt, it's amazing what salt does to even pressure treated wood.
Oh yeah, salt's horrible. Destroys everything.
It's just,
When they're always replacing docks at the beach and stuff.
yeah.
So you're getting ready for turkey season.
Yeah, he's chomping at the bit.
Good for him.
Try to see if these 4 that we have bring anything in. See, it's 4 wild turkeys now.
I would imagine they should.
He's a tom and 3 hens. The other day I was outside working and every little thing I did, that thing would shock gobble. I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, something gotta come from this. Yeah. But it's funny, like all winter, there's like 3 flocks around here. And I'm like, what? They just broke up already. Where the heck they all went?
I haven't seen very many.
I don't thing we have been seeing a lot is that bald eagle.
I think they're still back here.
Yeah, that's where we've been seeing them, like every day.
I don't know, last time I was on the river, boat, you see a couple of them.
When are they gonna start painting? I guess they gotta fix the driving first.
He said he would actually like to start possibly like this week or next week as long as it's nice patching things.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of patching to do.
Yeah.
And then we gotta pick a color out. I was hoping maybe one go with the tan or brown. And gray, blue guy. Not a brown. So.
The thing you see a lot now, like some of these newer, like upscale homes, is like that real dark siding, like the blacks and like the real dark
Slate
grays.
and stuff.
Yeah.
That'll fade quick. So.
Yeah. I mean, it looks nice at the beginning, but yeah.
Yeah, don't worry about that. It's up to them whatever they want to do. But the building needs it.
Yeah. We need a sign. The signs are like pathetic.
Yeah.
Like all of them.
We need an electronic sign.
Even the one at Gibraltar Park, like, I was really nice to just go down there and take the letters off because the plastic that, like the slats that hold the letters in, they're all just dry rotted. They just crack apart. Now, is he gonna do anything as far as painting the, like the flashing around the garage doors and all that stuff?
It's supposed to be.
Well, nice when it's done.
Yeah.
Cause now it's like, people ask her like, is that building vacant?
Man, they tell us all the time, we didn't come down there because we thought the building was abandoned.
Guess I'll let you know too, cause we have to do it the day prior to them coming in, CMS to start Rock Hollow Bridge. So we have to remove those Jersey barriers that block it. But he knows like as soon as we move those barriers, it's gonna be like a free-for-all. So.
We had people almost run into the barriers this past week.
so they can keep an eye. I mean, we're still gonna put like the road posts and stuff, we just gotta get our Jersey barriers out of there. And they're gonna pretty much stage all their stuff on like Jeff's side of the road there, that long stretch where them cedar trees are.
Who's doing it?
CMS.
I actually can't wait for that to be over.
Neither can I. Believe it or not, that put like another 25 minutes onto my plow route. Because before, I would just go all the way, Rock Hollow's mine, I'd go all the way down Rock Hollow, I'd go up Mullen Hollow, turn around, you know, and do my other pass. All of Rock Hollow was done. Now I gotta go all the way up and around. It just, I mean, it is what it is, but. And we did get the approval for, actually, believe it or not, DEP. Had no findings with, Zion Road with that culvert pipe. So that's gonna get done soon. I think Barney's gonna talk about that next week, I believe.
It's the first meeting that I never seen or I missed.
I'd like to see it. I believe he's right, but you're the son.
You just spend more time with your son, I think really,
I'm on this corner now,
hang out more than.
but the wrong way.
All the time, I've encountered you.
I think every other meeting we should switch seats.
We'll get a different vantage.
We're set to quick down.
We'll go back into executive session at 8:19. Executive session to discuss personnel issues. Now, as everybody knows, I think she was in executive session, we did discuss the administrative assistant issue. Would anybody like to discuss that? You know, making motions, does the chief want to review anything before we do it? Yeah.
Any reviews, anything like that? Good.
No? Nope, so anybody wanna? Continue? Yep.
Do we have on this agenda explicitly the potential offer of employment or hiring of that administrative assistant?
Yeah. It's
From a new hire PD admin
hire
assistant,
PD admin
front page.
assistant.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
So that covers it?
it does.
That's enough?
All right, I'll make a motion, we, approve,
Make an offer. of
make an
employment.
offer, yeah. Make an offer, to the PD admin assistant selected by police department during their interviews.
Can you state her last name, Miss?
Ewan.
Ewan, yes.
At a
Yes,
salary of 62,400.
At a salary of 62,400.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call, Mr. Bitler.
No.
Mrs. Joy.
Yes.
Mr. Rhodes.
Yes.
Mr. Gallo.
Yes.
And I vote yes. All right, anyone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Now you can be out of the
At
office.
8:20.
Do you think things?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
We do. We do.
Aye.
You think for
What,
Central?
what did you have when everybody come in and signed? Is that over there?
This is the,
That was Durham.
Yeah.
they're on track, so I'm gonna lay that out for everybody. And we also have the resolution.
Do we have to sign?
We do.
I just haven't stopped.
I signed it. I signed one.
You know, when I set off the alarm,
Oh, the old hickory, yes,
I had my
thank you.
glasses on,
That is
and
awesome.
I thought I did it, and I was like, I went out the car, I had my glasses on, and all the police and
Huh?
then I called him, and he
Except in
said,
the journal track meeting, he may not have been.
Rich, what's going on, are you there? He's like, no, it's Chris. I'm like, oh,
What do you need, scribbles and all these?
I understand.
Yeah, I don't think Jeff's inside, I think Jeff's here, I didn't give him that.
And those days you can do that, don't you? Doink.
And then we also have the repeal.
You gotta scribble under me, I'm looking my way around.
Over here, underneath.
Where are they?
Yeah, yes, sir.
How many is it? 1, 2, 3, 2, just one more. I think it's one.
Need something from you?
Yeah, this is the 25-08, this is the repeal.
5.
Taking my backpack this time.
Good.
Oh, here's the other.
Appreciate it. Which one I signed?
I signed all these. Okay, perfect, and then these are the two repeals. Take those copies.
How many is it? Just 2?
There's just two.
I signed mine, it's your day, but you have to sign something else.
Have those days.
Oh, the resolution here that we did. What are you doing?
Can you handle that for me? Apparently my flips are out of order today.
Alright.
I did those two.
Have a good day. Next one. Alright, sounds good. Thank you. Rick. Alright.
Sure.
So long. That's mine.
Yeah, let's just step out.
You all right, Tom?
Yeah, I'm just gonna shoot over from here.
Hey, so you know, you stick with like basketball teams, like you're like, you know, a Celtics fan or something, right?
No. I don't really like that.
You know, I mean, throw out Mets and you're.
A little bit science basketball, but like,
They're not, man.
Yeah, I mean, I pay attention to that, I watch it, because since, you know, we take 10 steps in front of them, and then they say, what a move, I'm like, you know what, if I grab the ball, tuck it in and ran 10 steps, I probably could get 5 minutes through.
right, literally just got one right now.
I'm gonna tell them for the top 3 really.
Yeah, I think
New
that's.
stuff or old stuff?
You know, I mean,
Yep,
so
yep.
just tell them about it.
Yep.
I wanna make sure myself,
No,
I'm very proud of all of
Yeah,
them.
well, I agree.
It is.
About 200. For like a $20. Best thing with that is you have.
Then it's aggressive arm.
For whatever reason.
Right. That's why I call it sell it.
Yeah.
Because if
You gotta think
it's
about it.
terrible
You gotta
this
check
year,
it tomorrow.
you're never gonna get it that much for it.
Zero.
Yes, it's seldom me.
See, nowadays, though, those calling cards, they're just, it's different than.
You have it up.
Because, you know, initially it was just tops.
Right,
And I guess that was clear.
You have anything in here signed? Hold on, let me double check.
See anything else, Rich?
I just wanna double check, there was something else in here. Oh, this was
And then there's all this
the,
extra.
I've signed these in the past,
There's
normally, this is
extra
the one that
50
went on
ones,
with Sue's
50
plan
cards,
section.
it would be whatever, then
Yeah.
there's this,
Approves
you
the
know,
one to sign.
There's numbered ones, there's parallels, there's all kinds of.
it was just so simple.
That thing
Just-
is,
Good night, everybody, have fun.
I'll take care of that.
Joanne.
How you guys?
Chrome updates.
That's right, all the updates, that's right, all the updates.
How do you type in item?
Yeah, it was simple when you just had to, when they were all about like 10, 15, 20 bucks.
Yes.
The tops had like 800 cards, just like all those.
Yeah. Yeah.
For like 20 bucks.
Yeah.
And it's clear, and my rest are a little smaller.
This one is.
That's great.
Uh-oh, who we miss?
If you,
Chris, not the
Somebody
one.
else, is that Scott in there?
oh, then I can see that. I missed one. Wait,
I think
There's
1, 2,
6.
3, 4.
oh, somebody, my else might have, that one's still at 5.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, well, this one, I have 4 on, we're good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
6.
Yep, there we go, we're good.
Everybody.
Solid Waste Authority, just in case anybody needs to know that too. I'll take care of that
These
tomorrow.
resolutions.
The resolutions are here. That's the one I'm gonna sign tomorrow, that's the
Can I
news
put
one.
them back in?
Yeah, you can put those back in there, man. It's all yours. So these are done, I'll track, slide this back.
Your face is good, you look at me or.